Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Heads Up. Special because this week we're celebrating STEM here at Wycombe High School. Science, technology, engineering and mathematics are at the heart of so much of what we do, and we're incredibly proud of the opportunities we offer and the amazing achievements of our students in this area of learning. And what better moment to shine a spotlight on STEM here at Wycombe High than right now, as two of our brilliant Year 11 students, Jerica and Taraniya, have both been awarded the prestigious Arkwright Engineering Scholarship, a nationally recognised programme that identifies and supports the UK's most talented future engineers. It's a hugely competitive process involving an application, an exam and an interview, with only a very small number of students selected each year. A fantastic achievement and richly deserved. And that passion for STEM learning starts right from the moment students join us here at Wycombe High. Earlier this week, we caught up with some of our Year 7 students to find out why they are loving their STEM subjects so far. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Prabna.
And my name's Hidayah.
And today we will be asking Wycombe High students
What their favourite STEM subjects are.
I love maths as I love problem solving.
I really like biology because it's my favourite part of science and we all get to study about humans and animals.
I like product design because of the designing and also the building.
I really like physics and engineering because I want to work at NASA when I'm older, and physics would help with the space and engineering would help with designing the models.
I like maths because I find it very interesting and I like to challenge my brain with equations.
I like product design because I like making new products.
I really like product design because I love the creativity that's involved.
I like product design because I love creating new things.
And that's what Wycombe High students
thought about their favourite STEM subjects.
What about you, Prabna?
My favourite is product design, as I really like creating. What about you?
I like biology because I think when you get to dissect things, it's pretty cool. Bye!
Well, I'm joined now here in one of our science labs by some of the brilliant minds behind STEM at Wycombe High. Miss Knight, our subject leader for product design, Mr Cudmore, a member of our mathematics team, and Miss Bailey, our director of science. Now, Miss Bailey, let's start with you. STEM is such a broad and exciting area. How would you describe the importance of STEM education for young people today?
I think one of the most important things we have to realise is that we live in this ever-changing and unpredictable world, and STEM is the front runner for that, whether that's the new AI technology that we're currently learning about in schools and in the wider world, or whether that's developments of medicine or infrastructure. So learning STEM and this importance of STEM subjects means that our students are have the opportunity to join that front line and to make the changes for an even more exciting world in 20, 30 years.
There's an incredibly exciting things going on, isn't there, in the STEM world at the moment? And Miss Knight, product design is such a creative and practical subject and such an important part of the STEM umbrella. How does it help students to sort of develop those real world skills and take their place in the world?
So students all the way from Year 7 all the way up to Year 13 all take projects that they get to explore that creativity with and conduct their own problem solving. So especially within our GCSE and A-level curriculums, they plan their projects themselves, they design them, they use an iterative process, so going back and forth throughout, and they've got to identify those problems themselves and calculate and use their other subject knowledge to help them with that.
And Mr Cudmore, you're a member of our mathematics team. Everything sort of we see in STEM is sort of underpinned by, I suppose, some of the numeracy concepts that we see in mathematics. How do you help our students see the relevance of maths beyond the classroom? We sometimes hear them say, oh, where will I use this?
Well, a lot of the times it's not just about learning it, it's about kind of using it and living it and utilising kind of other subjects across the sort of the broader STEM umbrella. Means that we can take the opportunity to create those cross-curricular links. And the mastery approach that we employ here at Wycombe High means that students look at the depth of understanding, not just a surface level, this is what we do, it's more the understanding of why we do it, which allows students to kind of develop that love of STEM from quite an early stage of their learning journey.
Yeah, fantastic. And Miss Bailey, you're a physicist by background. How do you inspire students, particularly in a field of science that's so underrepresented for girls, for our girls here to see themselves as the physicists, the scientists, the engineers, etc., of the future?
I mean, I think a huge part of it comes down to enthusiasm. I would hope that my students would tell you how excited I get about what I'm learning, whether that, or teaching, whether that's in year 7, all the way up to year 13, where obviously it gets quite gnarly and exciting and nitty gritty at the top end. But I think it's also about the language that we use in the classroom. I like to talk to my students about when they're going to study A-level or when they're going to go on to be engineers, rather than cutting back to an if, because if I can visualise them as a scientist, or I refer to them already as scientists, good morning scientists, that they already see themselves in that role, and will then hopefully the majority of them go on to do something linked to STEM in the future.
And I mean, breaking down those stereotypes is such an important part of success for young women, isn't it, in this field? And Miss Knight, you know, how do you go about breaking down some of those stereotypes and sort of enabling our students to see themselves in these careers? And have you seen that amongst some of our students? You know, what are they going on to do?
So we are tackling this a little bit earlier now. So we talk about careers as early as year 7 within product design and technology in general, looking at the different range of opportunities. Sometimes they're not aware of what's available to them. So looking at things like designers, engineers, how that can be applied in things like careers like aerospace, if that's of interest. We've seen students more and more successful recently. We have a lot of students go off to do things like industrial design, product design. Recently we've had degree apprenticeships in aerospace with some really big leading companies. We've obviously got students joining competitions and things as well within that, and they are becoming really aspirational within those fields.
I think some really exciting competitions they've entered as well, haven't they? Sort of under the umbrella of the technology and the science in particular. And there was a group, wasn't there, who won an award in one of the competitions.
Yeah, they recently entered a competition to design a science poster, and they won the health division, which was excellent. And they went on to win an excellent prize for the school.
Yeah. And two of our students.
We've just had 2 students become Arkwright scholars, which will allow them to have mentoring and external events throughout their A-levels, so that they can really delve into that kind of world of engineering post.
Absolutely incredible. And I suppose a large degree of that success comes with confidence, doesn't it? And sort of building the confidence. Mr. Cudmore, you know, how do we instill that in the girls, that confidence to succeed?
I mean, confidence is crucial. The amount of times I've heard students say, well, I'm not a maths person, but that's kind of rubbish, because everybody has the innate ability to logically reason and problem solve. And whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously, helping students see that that part of your brain you're developing within the STEM curriculum is utilised every single day. Like, yeah, no one's going to walk into Tesco's and factorise a quadratic, but you're going to go to Tesco's and say, right, if I need bread, milk and eggs, this is the most optimal route I can find. Your brain does that subconsciously. So helping students realise that they have this ability to logically reason, I think just unlocks doors and creates that confidence, and it comes back to the enthusiasm as well. I've always said you don't have to be good at maths, but if you enjoy it, it makes it a whole lot easier. And kind of the enthusiasm that as a department we work with kind of helps with that confidence as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And that confidence is key, but resources are key too. And we're lucky to be able to draw on some great resources here. Ms Bailey, what makes STEM stand out at Wycombe High in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think on top of the facilities that we have, both in tech and in science and in maths with all the new refurbishment, we also have lots of clubs and competitions and additional opportunities for the students, for the girls to get involved in. We ran a British Science Week event recently where students had a variety of different clubs, both in lesson time and during lunch times that they wouldn't normally participate in. We've got students from years 10 all the way up to year 13 currently participating in a nuclear physics masterclass with Isaac Science, which is run by the University of Oxford, which is really cool. We've got a group, 2 groups it seems, both in tech and in science, doing Formula 1 based project competitions and building cars. So it's about making sure that students are aware of those opportunities, publicising them and then facilitating them to get involved with them if that's something that they really, really want to do.
Well, I was going to ask actually, can you give us some examples of the sorts of projects that students are getting involved in that sort of really showcase that work? So would the Formula 1 be an example of that?
Yeah, so we do a bunch of different projects. We run different clubs throughout the year that the students actually get to pick what they make. I have a small group of Key Stage 3 students that love to kind of come to me with ideas, and facilitating that kind of inspired design is really important to us. Within obviously their GCSE and their A-levels, they get to pick their own projects, so we have a lot of variation. Last year we had someone do something really aspirational with electronics and had to get computer science involved in order to make a circuit that had a time delay on it so it could light up and stay lit up for so long. And factoring that into products and instilling that kind of confidence that they can explore these paths or mechanisms or other things that they want to include in their projects is also really important.
There's such a multidisciplinary approach here. Mr. Cudmore, how do the subjects come together to sort of support the students?
Well, we want to make sure that there's consistency with language. Ms Knight earlier mentioned the process of iteration and those iterative processes. That's across computer science, it's across mathematics, it's across all the processes, making sure that we have the same language used across the board as well, speaking kind of physics and maths with the kinematics, all the force diagrams, and making sure there's consistency in delivery means that students see the knowledge that they've learned and are happy with in one subject being applied in a different subject. It just makes those kind of cross-curricular links mean that it's so much more accessible to our students here.
Yeah. And teachers drawing attention to that. It's been like, when you did this in maths or in biology, this is this. Do you see how this is
the equation of this line? This is a straight line, and ta-da!
Absolutely. Well, finally, let me ask each of you if you could give one piece of advice to our students aspiring to a future in the STEM industries. What would it be?
Go for it. Would be mine. I think unless you look into it and you explore it, you aren't going to know. And I think with STEM pathways in particular, there's so many skills within them that can be transferable. So if they did, for whatever reason, decide that maybe mechanical engineering wasn't for them, that doesn't mean that skill set can't be applied to a different area within STEM.
Get stuck in, go for it. Mr. Cudmore, your advice?
I'd advise being curious and open-minded, using some familiar words that we might know. There's a near infinite number of careers and opportunities within STEM, and just because one doesn't work doesn't mean that all of the doors will be closed. So just keep looking and keep trying different things. The more you kind of exposure you get to the kind of wide range of opportunities there are, you'll find something that works for you.
Fantastic. And Miss Bailey, your advice?
Taught to the students in the older year groups. We've got students in our sixth form that are involved in STEM in a huge variety of ways. Some have gone on to get apprenticeship opportunities. And certainly within my tutor group, I encourage my younger students to ask them about what they've done, what did they do for work experience. Because the more you learn about what doors are open to you, the more likely you are to walk through one.
Yeah, fantastic. Great advice for our students, and I know many of them are aspiring to a career in the STEM industry. So thank you all very much for your time. That's it from this week's very special STEM edition of Heads Up. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.